This is your daily warm-up video. All you need to do is follow along and you'll be warmed up for the day. This is my personal warm-up that I do before my workouts, and I have many of my clients do the same exact workout. All you'll need is a mat, and that's the best part about it. It should take about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll find out at the end of this video. So the first thing we're going to do is 5 cat-cows. So we're going to get the wrists underneath the shoulders, we're going to get our knees under our hips. I'm going to actively push the ground away from me to give my shoulders some good support. And then from here, I'm going to round my spine to the ceiling, tucking my head and tail, really rounding through the spine, breathing into my upper back, and then belly drops, head and tail looks up. And we're just going to move back and forth 5 times. Now, you don't have to go too crazy with this motion. Kind of check in with yourself. You know, it might just be here and here, but ideally, try to get as much movement as you can that's pain-free. All right, next thing we're going to do is 5 and 5, and I call this one wag the tail. Essentially, it's a lateral cat-cow. So I'm going to shoot my hips over to the left and look over my right shoulder. And I'm going to shoot my hips over to the right and look over my left shoulder. That's 1 and 1, and we're going to move again to 2 and 2. And I'm still actively pushing the ground away so that my shoulders are nice and stable. That's 4 and 4, 5 and 5. All right, next thing we're going to do is a bird dog. So this is kind of wake up our core and our appendages. So I'm braced. I imagine I got a big old glass of red wine on my back and I don't want to spill it. So I'm just going to reach forward with my hand and reach back with the opposite foot. And I'm just reaching back through that heel. I own the position. That's 1. And I alternate. Right foot back, left arm up. That's 1. 2. And 2. Try to keep the core nice and stable, back nice and stable. 3. 3. And as you can see, I'm not reaching up, I'm just reaching straight back. 4. 4. 5. And 5. All right, next thing we're going to do is a child's pose with 3-way reach. A little caveat with this one, I'm going to bring my hands out a little bit in front of my shoulders. I'm going to actively push the ground away, and then I will sit back. It's okay if my butt doesn't make it all the way back, as long as you feel that stretch in your back, your hips, and your shoulders. And from here, I'm just going to take a few good breaths, and as I inhale, I'm going to try to have that inhale fill my upper back, expanding through there, and then just breathe out. I inhale, expanding my back, and out. All right, come back to that original position. Hands are still in front of the shoulders. I'm going to walk them over to the right. Actively push the ground away, and I'm going to sit back. And like I said, it's okay if your hips don't go all the way back. Some days they go back nice and easy. Other days I'm kind of stuck in a certain position. And from here, as I breathe in, I'm going to try to expand the left side of my body. So that inhale fills the left side of my body. And breathe out. And again, as you breathe in, have it expand the left side of your body. And out. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing to the left. Hands are in front of the shoulders. I actively push the ground away, and I sit back. And as I inhale, I'm going to fill the right side of my body with that in-breath. Good. All right, next thing we're going to do, one of my favorite stretches, we're going to do an adductor rock. So from this same position, push the ground away, I'm going to stick my foot out to the side. That foot that's out is in line with this knee here. Toes are pointing ahead. From here, tailbone to the sky, and from this position, keeping the hands where they are, I'm going to rock back, and as I rock back, I'm going to feel a groin stretch, and then I come forward. That's 1. We're going to do that 10 times. 2. 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm sweating, 9, and 10. All right, get that leg back underneath you. We'll stick the other one out. So that foot there is in line with this knee, toes pointing ahead, push the ground away, tailbone to the sky, and as you rock back, you'll feel that good stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, back to that original position. We're going to do a downward dog now. So from this position, excuse me, you're going to push the ground away. You're going to dig your toes underneath. And from this position, I'm going to start reaching my hips to the sky and letting my heels melt towards the ground as I push away from the ground. And it's okay if your ankles don't touch the ground, mine don't, or my heels. Now from this position, I'm going to start pedaling the feet, so I bend one knee, really driving my right foot down to the mat. And now I'm going to bend my right knee and really drive that left heel down to the mat. I'll just go back and forth a few times doing that. Just kind of waking up the ankles. Should feel a good stretch here. And then we'll do an upward dog. So there's several different ways to do this. We'll first do a Sphinx pose because it's nice and gentle. So I'm just going to get on my belly, kind of like I'm reading a book. I'm actively going to push the ground away, my elbows and forearms in the ground. Just kind of squeeze my butt, and just kind of hang out here and breathe. And if that's easy enough, or this might be a huge stretch for you, just hang out here and breathe. So I'm kind of squeezing my butt, pushing one hip into the mat at a time. If that's easy enough, we'll go and do an upward dog or a cobra. I guess this would be technically a cobra. So my feet are on the ground, my knees are on the ground, and I'm going to come on up, pushing the ground away, squeezing my glutes, and bringing my upper body up. And from here, I'm going to squeeze my butt, push my left hip into the mat, open up that left side, and squeeze my right glute and really push that right side down. All right. Next thing we're going to do, it's called the world's greatest stretch. Essentially, it's a deep lunge position. So we're here, push-up position. I'm going to step my left foot outside my hand here. Now, if this is too much just to hold that, you can put that back knee down, okay? But now that we are here, I'm going to take my left elbow, and I'm going to try to reach for the ground with that. It's okay if you don't make it, just feel that groin stretch. And then from here, I'm going to rotate and reach that arm to the sky. Elbow's going to come back down, and I rotate and I reach that arm to the sky. Now, ideally, your low back's not going to rotate with this. If it's doing that, that's totally fine. But I'm trying to mobilize my thoracic or upper spine while I'm also getting good stretch here. So that's 3. We're going to do this 5 times. 4 and 5. And I keep my eyes on that hand as I rotate. And now we'll just we'll go right into a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So I'll bring that in. This back knee is down. Biggest thing with hip flexor stretches is you want to tuck the pelvis underneath you. So I'm not sticking my butt out with this low back curve. I'm actually bringing my belt buckle up towards my nose and I'm tucking underneath. As soon as you do that, you'll probably already start feeling a little stretch here. So this right glute's engaged, my pelvis is tucked underneath. Feel a good stretch, keeping that engaged, that posterior pelvic tilt. I shift forward a little bit, get a little bit more there. Right knee's down, right arm comes up, and I just gently lean away from that and I start breathing. Now, as you're doing this, maybe you don't have that glute engagement. You have a hard time doing that, or you start feeling the low back. Just kind of relax out of it. Posterior pelt, posterior tilt again, and shift back, and just reset. Some days it's easy for me to get into that and have that awareness. Other days, I kind of have to go and do pelvic tilts a few times before it wakes up. All right, so now that we did the hip flexor stretch, we're going to take this leg out to the side. So this foot is in line with this knee, toes pointing that way. I'm going to squeeze my butt the whole time, and I'm going to rock this way for 10. 1, 2, 3. It's hot out here today. 4, 5, 6. Now the nice thing about this stretch, 7, is not only am I stretching out my groin, but if you really go for it, you can get some good ankle mobilization too. 9 and 10. All right. We're gonna go back to that push-up position, do a world's greatest stretch on the other side. So push-up position, I step my right foot forward. Like I said, if that's too much, just keep that back knee down. From this position, I'm gonna reach my right elbow towards the mat and reach that arm to the sky. Do that 5 times, 5 rotations. All right, after that 5 rotations, this back knee comes down if it hasn't already. And we're gonna do a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So here I am, posterior pelvic tilt, this glute's engaged, I shift forward, bring the left arm up since my left knee is down, and I gently lean away, stretching out that whole side. Take a few good breaths here. And then we'll do that adductor rock. So this leg here is gonna swing out to the side. I'm gonna squeeze my butt the whole time, and we're gonna rock that way for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get on our back and we're gonna floss our hamstring. So for that one, toes are pointing directly up. I'm gonna grab behind one of my thighs, and from here I'm gonna try to strain this leg 10 times. So straighten it, really try and engaging this quad muscle as you strain it. Toes are going back and then come back down. So we kind of own it, that position, about 3 seconds, 2, and then relax out. 3, 4. And you got 10 reps to try to strain this bad boy. So at first, if it's not going where you want, that's okay. You got a few more reps to go. 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, we're gonna switch. So right toes are pointing to the ceiling. I'm gonna grab behind my left thigh, and we're gonna do this one 10 times. 1, 2, and of course you're always breathing. 3 or 4. I'm not counting right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If I miscounted, one more rep's not going to kill you. All right, next thing we're going to do is a figure 4 stretch. This is a classic stretch. We're going to do both feet on the floor, knees bent. I'm going to take my left foot and put my left ankle right here on my right thigh. Now, first thing I do, if you're really tight, maybe just pushing this knee away from you is going to be enough of a stretch where you feel that in your left booty. But for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my hand through this hole right here, grab my right thigh, and pull that in. So either right thigh or the right shin, and you're going to pull that in. And then I use this elbow here to pry that knee away. So I'm pulling in and pushing that away at the same time, creating a frame right there. You should feel a good stretch on your left glute. We're just going to hang out here and take a few breaths in and out. Okay. Then I'm going to let go with the hands. And I'm going to keep the same shape with the legs. This ankle now is going to drive this across my body. So from here I like to do arms out like a T, and now this ankle is going to let this hip drop over. So we should feel a good lengthening right here. So I'm going to take a few good breaths in and out here. And I'm really trying to get this hip, I want to think about getting far away from this rib cage here, so I stretch out the QL as well. All right, and we'll figure 4 the other way. So both feet flat on the floor, my right ankle is going to go on my left thigh. Just push the knee away at first. That might be all you need to do. And if you're there, that's totally fine. But for me, I'm going to thread my right hand through this hole, grab my left thigh or shin, pull it in, use my right elbow as a frame to push that knee even further away. And as you pull this in, you're going to feel a good stretch on your right booty, right glutey, right butt cheek. All right, we're just going to hang out here and breathe. Okay, and then I'm gonna let go with the hands, keep the same shape with the legs. My left foot comes down to the mat, and then this right ankle is gonna drive this knee across my body. And I put my arms out like a T. I'm tighter on this way, going this way, so that's why you hear me groaning. So I'm gonna breathe, and like I said, I imagine my hip bone, I wanna try to get away from my rib cage, and then that way it gets a good little QL stretch there too. And breathe, and you should feel maybe a different stretch in the hips as we do that. All right, next thing we're gonna do is 10 glute bridges. So I have my feet flat on the floor, about hip distance in width, toes pointing ahead. First thing I wanna do here is I wanna turn my core on. So there's several different ways to think about this. You can brace for a belly punch. That's how I normally like to think about it. You could do a posterior pelvic tilt. You could think about pressing your low back in the ground. Some people don't like that one, but whatever. It'll turn your core on. Biggest thing is turn the core on, keep that core engagement as we drive the feet hard into the mat, come on up, squeezing my butt, and then I come back down. We're gonna do 10, that's one. Now, biggest thing with this one is we don't want to arch the low back. We just want to finish with the glutes, and that's why it's important that we brace the core at the beginning. Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now say for instance you were doing that and you were feeling your hamstring and it was going to cramp out. If you bring your heel a little bit closer to your butt, that'll do more butt engagement and less hamstring. Something that you can play around with. There's no right or wrong way with that, just whatever feels right. Now we're going to do 5 single leg bridges on each side, okay? So same exact starting position. I'm going to brace the core. I'm going to bring one leg up. I'm going to drive hard through this right heel, come up and come down. Ideally, you want to keep the hips even, that we're not tilting or anything like that. But if this is your first time doing it, that might be all that you need to do. So that's 5, all right? And we're going to switch. Abs brace, keep that core tension. I'm going to drive through that left heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, next thing we're going to do is a T-spine rotation. So get into your arms, and from here, this is going to help mobilize your T-spine or thoracic spine. So there's 2 different ways you could set up. Either you could have the knees up at 90, like you're cuddling a pillow, or my preferred way is both legs out, and I bring that top knee up to 90 degrees. But if that hurts your back or doesn't feel good, do whatever. You can even put like a foam roller or a yoga block here and put that on top as well. So support your head. I'm going to take this arm, I'm going to reach out, and then still driving this thigh into the ground. After I reach out, I'm going to rotate, reaching, and then I come back. That's 1. Reach and open. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this other arm involved. So if you have a pillow or a yoga block, you can support your head. But for me, I'm just going to hold it up. I'm going to have both hands go together. This one's going to rotate to the sky as the other one goes. And that's 1. Reach. This one reaches for the sky. The other one keeps going. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And last thing we're going to do from this position is we're going to get a nice quad stretch. So this foot right here, I'm going to grab it. If you can't get it, use a yoga strap or a towel. Basically, I'm going to grab this foot, I'm going to squeeze my butt or tuck my tail underneath me like a sad puppy, and you're going to start feeling a good quad stretch. And we're just going to hang out here and breathe a little bit. You bored yet? You're like, dang, how much stuff do we have to do to warm up? Don't worry, we're almost done here. And you know, even if you're just doing this as a daily thing, I mean, it's a great way just to start your day and just to feel good. All right, we're gonna break dance, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So again, to your Burt Reynolds, like I said, you can either do top knee up or you can cuddle a pillow. In this case, I'll show you how I would do if I cuddle a pillow. So I got the knees stacked, the hips stacked, all right? I'm gonna squeeze my knees together just to kind of keep everything locked into the lumbar. So here we go. I reach and I open. 1. Reach and open. 2. It's gonna make you a really good reverse driver. If you need to back out of a driveway, you'd be like, boom. I can back out of any driveway. I don't need a camera. 3. 4. And 5. All right, I'm gonna get the other arm involved. So they both reach. These fingertips reach for the ceiling, and then this one keeps going. Reach. These reach for the ceiling. This one keeps going. 2. 3. 4. And 5. All right, we're going to do that quad stretch. It's also known as a bretzel. So for that one, I will have to do the other position where this top knee comes down. This back foot's free. I grab it. I tuck my tail underneath me or squeeze my butt like a sad puppy. And you're going to start feeling a good quad stretch on that leg right there. I'm just going to hang out here and breathe. All right, and the last 2 things we're going to do is a plank and a side plank, just to kind of get the core going. And if you're going to do some weightlifting, you know, kind of give you a good base to lift some heavy weight. So, front plank, I'm going to get the elbows underneath the shoulders. I'm going to actively push the ground away. I'm not just going to hang on my bones. I'm actively pushing the ground away so my shoulders are engaged. I come up on the toes and I squeeze my butt or tuck my tail underneath me. So we don't want the butt up in the air. If we had a stick on our back from the back of the head, shoulder blades, and tailbone, they'd all be one line. We're just gonna hang out and breathe. I'm gonna say this is gonna be 30 seconds, but honestly, I'm just gonna feel out what 30 seconds feels like. I don't have a timer here, so joke's on me. So keep breathing, pushing the ground away with the elbows. If you feel anything in your low back, you're done. You should not feel anything in your low back here. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hopefully that was 30 seconds. You guys can comment below. All right, and then the last thing we're gonna do is a side plank, but we're gonna do a modified side plank because we're warming up here, you know? We don't wanna get too tired here. So, the biggest thing with any side plank is don't have it out here. You wanna get that elbow right underneath so we're stacking the bones. Here, I got my knees stacked, my feet stacked, and my hips stacked. And then from here, we're gonna shoot for 20 seconds. Once again, I don't have a timer. So, keeping this bottom knee on the ground, I'm gonna come on up, squeeze my glutes, and I kind of squeeze my butt and push it forward. So it's a straight line from head, shoulder, hip, knees. All right, so we're hanging out and breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We break dance, and we do the other side. This is our last thing for the warm-up. And I'm so sweaty. This is Alabama summer for you. So elbows underneath the shoulder, hips, knees, and feet are stacked. And I'm gonna come on up, squeeze my butt, drive it forward so that I have this straight line here. And this hand here, I mean, it could be in a straight line here. It could be on the hips. You can grab your other lat. You can wave at the neighbors, whatever feels good for you. And I kind of joke as a personal trainer, I'm just a glorified counter for people. I just count down for them as I watch them work out. So hopefully my internal clock's good. And in 3, 2, and 1, that was 20 seconds. All right, so here's your daily warm-up. Do this before you work out, or just do it as a thing just to feel good in life. All right, follow, like, subscribe. Personal trainer. Out.